It was to be a week of joyous celebration. The NHL would be marking its centennial, the born-again Ottawa Senators saluting their 25th year back in professional hockey. There would be an outdoor alumni game on Parliament Hill featuring both the still-beloved Daniel Alfredson and the once-loathed Alexei Yashin, from Senators teams of years past. Story continues below advertisement. There would be a much larger outdoor game, the NHL 100 Classic, played Saturday at the TD Place Football Stadium, 3 days short of the 100th anniversary of the very first NHL game played in Ottawa. The 2017 Montreal Canadiens were in town to play the 2017 Senators. A century ago, the 1917 Canadiens had beaten the 1917 Senators 7-4 at the long-forgotten Days Arena, Joseph "Phantom Joe" Malone scoring 5 goals as he began a season that would result in a record goals per game average, 44 in 20 games, which has stood for a full century. With snow falling early in the week and temperatures dropping, the optics were perfect. Parliament Hill as backdrop for the old-timers game, a sellout crowd in excess of 30,000 for Saturday's Heritage game. Except when you took a closer look, all was far, far from perfect. The turmoil spread earlier in the week. The 2017 Senators came straggling home from their worst trip in recent memory, having won but a single game of the 7 they played, while the Canadian Tire Centre was home to the week-long Roar of the Rings curling competition. In the final match of the torturous journey to other NHL cities, they had fallen to the Buffalo Sabres, the worst team in the Eastern Conference. Over the previous 13 games, the suddenly hapless Senators had but a single win to show for their efforts or lack of effort, as many saw it. Even with a 3-2 victory Wednesday night at home against the New York Rangers, the Senators had fallen to second last in the East, barely above the lowly Sabres and a playoff berth seemingly out of reach by Christmas. Hard to believe for a team that only 7 months earlier had come within a single overtime goal of reaching the Stanley Cup final. Story continues below advertisement. Story continues below advertisement. Fan faith had plummeted faster than the mercury, which showed -20°C Friday morning. In the bars, coffee shops and, most wildly, on talk radio, those outraged fans not calling for the owner's head were calling for the general manager's head, while those not calling for the Graham to be fired wanted the coach booted. It reached such a fevered pitch that by late Wednesday the team's owner, Eugene Melnyk, was moved to tell the Ottawa Citizen that he fully supported Graham-Pierre Dorion, who does an excellent job. As for Dorion, he was likewise doing damage control, telling the paper that we're not making any coaching changes. Head coach Guy Boucher, he added, was a great coach last year. He got us 1 goal from the Stanley Cup final. He's staying. The turmoil even spread to the dressing rooms, involving both current and past players. Captain Erik Karlsson widely held to stand with Sidney Crosby and Connor McDavid as the game's top 3 players was asked for a list of teams to which he would agree to be traded. In 9 years as a Senator, the gifted defenseman had never before been approached with such a request, though such is fairly common for star players nearing the end of expensive, long-term contracts.